What are you doing with some of your relationships in your life? Maybe it might be your relationship with your husband, your wife, with your kids. Is there some relationship in your life that is blocking, being that glass ceiling, your relationship to God? So what does Jesus say? If you have something against somebody, you need to go to them and seek reconciliation. With that, 4 steps, 4 easy steps. These are things that you probably learned in kindergarten. Problem is, we tend to forget them, and we tend to get into our old nature of the way we do things. But 4 very easy steps. The first one is, when you have an issue that's going on between husband and wife, at work, wherever it's going on, we need to realize we've got to take a step back. Take a step back and set a time to talk. I'm going for it. Okay. Is Anna here? Anna, are you here? Don't my stepdaughters just love me? For Sue and I, for the last 6 years of our marriage, probably our biggest controversy, and those of you who are remarried with stepchildren, is stepchildren. And my stepdaughters don't watch this online, so please don't tell them next week, oh, you were talking about this last week. But that tends to be one of our biggest issues, is stepchildren. We just had it the other night. I came home. It was Tuesday night, and it had been about a 14-hour day with dealing with stuff, and Faith Comerford and I had to go to meetings Tuesday night for classes, and got home, and bam, I heard from one of the daughters, Greg, I want this, I want this, I want. Heard from the other stepdaughter, where's your credit card? I need to buy this. I need your credit card. Mom said it's okay, give me your credit card. Whoa, you can imagine what that does to me. My fight side wants to come out, but I'm learning to take that step back. We'll talk about this later, okay? So Sue and I, we go to bed, and I say, honey, I'd really like us to talk about this with the way the girls maybe ask for money from you, from me. Well, what did I say up there? First line? Set a time. Sue and I. Nights are bad. Nights are good for me. I'm willing to talk. If you know my wife, come 8:30 at night, she's asleep. She's gone. Okay? Nights are not the time for us to talk about serious issues, and you think I would get it through my thick skull. That's not the time to talk. So what do we have to do? That night it was, honey, this is what I'm sort of feeling about what's going on, but can we talk about this tomorrow? You with me on that? I realize night's not the time. Even though I got some emotions going on, I don't want to fight because it's time to go to sleep. So I say, okay, Sue, let's talk about this tomorrow. So we set a time. That, okay, we're going to talk about this tomorrow. So what happened on Wednesday when she comes? A lot of you know that she works here at church a lot with preschool and whatnot. She comes, we sit in my office, and we're sitting together, and we said, okay, honey, this is what I really want to talk about. And it's setting the agenda. I know this may sound elementary. For some of you who are in business, you do this all the time possibly, but it's important even within our marriage or with our kids and our parents and friends. We set the agenda. We said, okay, this is what we're going to talk about. Are we actually going to get a couple of cheap cell phones for the stepdaughters or not? Are we actually going to buy those tickets for that concert in Grand Rapids or not? We're going to talk about this issue or these 1 or 2 issues. Because you see, what happens usually is when we start talking or getting into the conflict resolution, when we start sharing with each other, if you're like me, we don't stay on one topic, but how many topics? You never, we bounce all over the place and we go down rabbit trails. I don't know, are some of you like that? when you're dealing with an issue? No, none of you are like me? Okay, but that's the way I am, and that's the way Sue tends to be. I mean, there's sometimes it's like, well, honey, you always do this. And I say, what do you mean I always? Name the last time I did that. Well, 2 years ago on a Wednesday you did. Okay, that was 2 years ago. Okay, but you get the drift on that. You got to set the agenda. You set the time, set the agenda. Set what you're going to talk about. And then the question is, what are we going to do differently about the situation? Okay? This morning I have a lot of scriptural passages, so if you have an opportunity, I encourage you to write them down on the bulletin, but to look at them later. Proverbs 10:12 says, hatred stirs up dissension, but love covers all wrongs. Isn't that beautiful? Hatred stirs up dissension, but love covers all wrong. You see, when we decide that we're actually going to try to have some conflict resolution, when we're actually going to try to bring some healing into the relationship, there's two simple things that need to take place. One, you have to hear the other person and where they're coming from. Two, you have to know that you're being heard by them. Okay? One, you have to hear the other person. Two, you have to know that they are hearing and understanding you. I know I've said this before, but the Army likes to do their little hoorah! Hoorah! I mean, Air Force, our call sign is, where's the remote? Right, Paul? Air Force, we're more spoiled. Army, it's hoorah! I've been told before that means heard, agreed, understand. I've heard you, I agree with what you're saying, and I understand what you want me to do. Hoorah. That's the same with conflict resolution. We need to be able to, the beginning part is to know that we're going to be heard, but also that we're going to hear the other person. So what happens too often within our relationships is we tend to want to do the problem solution before we want to talk about the issue. I mean, I know some women are like this, okay? Some women have these characteristics, but more of us men. I mean, typically, who likes to go deer hunting? Men, right? Who likes to go deer? Who typically likes to go bird hunting? Man, you guys are quiet this morning. Who? Men. Okay. Who likes to go shopping and try on outfits for 5 hours? Men? I hope not. Who said men? Was that you? Men typically, not always, but typically, I mean, you want to go out there, you shoot it, you bag it, and take it home.
Or you miss it and not bag it.
Yeah, you miss it. Yeah, we have some people like that who hunt, huh? Anyway, women typically like to just go spend all afternoon with their daughters or their mother or their friends. Some do not, but some, they just go and they try on all these dresses. And Sue and I were out shopping yesterday, and we were out looking for some stuff for the house, and after 2.5 hours, I finally said to her, honey, we're buying it, I'm done, we're buying what we're looking at, and we're out of here, we're going home. I said, I'm tired of this, we're shooting it, I'm bagging it, and we're out of here. We're gone. It's done. I said that to her. It's like, all done. Oftentimes we men, and some women, want to just have the solution right away. Let's solve the problem right away. The reality is we need to learn, we got to talk about it. We need to talk so that you feel heard and you hear the other person, what they have to say. Okay, so first thing is, when you're having the issue going on, we need to set the agenda. Set a time, a place, and what we're going to talk about so we don't go down a bunch of rabbit trails. Secondly, we've got to brainstorm. Need to brainstorm with each other. And what is brainstorming simply? It's listing number one. And this is the hardest aspect, one of the hardest aspects of conflict resolution. You got to list how you are contributing to the problem. I know between Sue and I, when we're dealing with the daughter's issues, how do I contribute to the problem? I think probably most of you know. What